Toscano here with the Sherrod Blakely live from the TD Garden after the Celtics 113-103 win over the offensive-minded Atlanta Hawks, which I thought the Celtics did a damn good job tonight of preventing them from going off as they have of late. Just a good all-around game from Boston on the offensive end, on the defensive end. Obviously, that second half run that the opponent is so fond of making did occur. But the Celtics led from start to finish in this one, Sherrod. And, it started in that first half there with, behind Jason Tatum, who once again goes above 30 points tonight, finishes with 34 points on 11 of 25 from the field. Just a great game from him. Jaylen Brown doing his thing, dunking on people's heads as he's been known to do. And then Derek White with a solid all-around performance. And they've got some unfamiliar faces contributing tonight. So just take us through what you saw tonight at the Garden.
Well, I mean, the biggest thing was, Tatum established the tone. Jaylen Brown was consistent. We saw the good Jaylen, not only in terms of dunking on folks, but just really having an impact out there. And as you alluded to earlier, Jimmy, the unknown guys, the X factors. We know about what Sam Hauser can do off that bench, but this was the first time we got a chance to see Kada really do his thing. And again, around the rim, he's very active. I was pleasantly surprised at how active he was offensively around the rim. He really did a good job of fighting for second and third shot opportunities. I thought the Celtics really made a point of looking for him more than I thought they would. And his overall impact both ends of the floor was really impressive. And you got to talk about Banton getting a start. Yep. I thought his role for the most part was just basically to stay out of Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown's way and make sure that you don't get your ass beat defensively. And I thought he did a good job of that, but there were some opportunities for him to get some easy buckets. And to his credit, he made sure that he was constantly in motion, waiting for those opportunities. And Tatum, Brown, those guys did a good job of finding him for some easy baskets. And overall, this was a very workmanlike effort for the Celtics. This by no means was one of their best games of the year or even this month, but it was good enough to get the win. It never really gave the Hawks any type of realistic hope that they could win this thing. And that's what you want to do on nights like this when you're down not one but two of your regular starters.
A lot of Kada love in the chat, Sherrod, early on. And I know, we've been on this show saying, Kada obviously was hurt to start a good chunk of this season. But whether it's Kada, whether it's Banton, a couple of these players that haven't really gotten the playing time. And now that with some injuries to Porzingis, Holiday, these guys are, the Knicks are hitting them a little bit here. You've got a situation where opportunity is now arose for some of these guys. And I thought Kada, he came in there and you touched upon it already, just being physical, just going up for that second chance opportunity, the offensive rebounds. I mean, these guys, I don't have let's see, what was the O boards tonight? I can pull it up right here. Offensive rebounds, 18 offensive rebounds for the Celtics tonight. So that's a big number and contributing to the 58 total rebounds. And that's guys like Kada who had 10 rebounds. You talked about Banton getting the start for them, 5 rebounds out of him. And then Tatum and Brown still doing it on both facets of the game. And then old reliable Al Horford, Sherrod, 15 rebounds. I got to get Ahmed on the scene to see the last time that he ripped down 15 boards. You're muted, so.
It has been a minute since Al got you 15 boards. I'm not sure we've had weeks where Al got you 15 rebounds. He was aggressive, he was active, he was locked in. And again, this Atlanta Hawks team, they're not the biggest, most physical team out there. And the Celtics, to their credit, they took advantage of that. They had so many guys that were active around the glass. They were for the game, they were plus 15 on the boards. And when you out-rebound a team like that, more times than not, you're going to win. And you shoot mid to high 40s most of the game. This was a good win for the Celtics because, again, as we pointed out earlier, down 2 starters, which most teams, when you're down 2 starters, you're probably not going to beat another team in the league by double digits. And this league could have been significantly more than that. I thought there were some stretches where the Celtics kind of eased up a little bit, took their foot off the gas. But for the most part, this was a very good quality win for the Celtics that they should feel good about because, again, you made it through the game. Your core guys played well. Your bench as a group, not just 1 or 2 guys, but damn near everyone they brought in off the bench had a really solid contribution to this game, including Lemon Square himself, Luke Cornette. He had some good moments too.
Wow, you
forget about Luke.
You went there. Well,
I did. I did. But
think
Kada was better tonight.
I was gonna say you probably will forget about Luke tonight more so than other nights, believe it or not, because of the Kada welcome party, I guess you could call it. And this is a position of need for this Celtics team. It's size has been a I don't know, some people might call it a concern, but they got rid of Rob Williams, and with that they're undersized in that 5 position down there under the basket, and Kada comes in and just gives his physicality, shows that he's an NBA caliber player, a guy that can come in off the bench and give you 10 minutes of physicality, bruise in there, be the guy that, shoves somebody out of the way for a board. You know what? Pick up a foul or two, whatever it is, contribute in some capacity. And I thought that's exactly what he gave them tonight. The points are a bonus. He gave you 7 points on top of the 10 boards, 3 of 8 from the field. And, he was a +5. This is a guy that I think was he G League, like first team last year? Great player in the G League, hasn't had the NBA experience yet, and is a relative unknown. And so you might catch a little bit of lightning in a bottle here. And sometimes that's all it takes is an injury to allow a player who's been sort of waiting in the wing. And I'm not saying, listen, he's not going to be the next Porzingis. He's nothing close to him. They're complete opposites, but he can provide something to help you get, to help you progress in that, I would say probably more of a weaker part of their game.
Absolutely. And, this is a guy that's only played like 15, 16 NBA games, so he doesn't have this wide, body of work. But he's one of those young guys that opportunity, I think, is going to be his best ability at this point. And to his credit, this was the first real opportunity he had to play decent minutes. And he was out there for, 15, 16 minutes and got you damn near double-double. And when you can have a guy that can come in and give you that type of impact, as you mentioned, Jimmy, a position of need, it's really important. And the thing that I like about him and Luke is that they're two very different kind of players. Luke is a little bit more finesse, able to much better score, I think, than Kada.
Right, a little more polished, I guess you could say, around the rim. Kada's sort of just going up there recklessly a little bit, yeah.
Exactly. Kada gives you a little bit more physicality, and I think can probably play a little bit more above the rim. Not quite Rob Williams above the rim, but certainly on that spectrum, if you will. And again, having guys that can do multiple things depending on who you're playing, I think for the Celtics, this was great for them to see what could Kada do when he had advantages to his benefit. And again, he was very active. You look at his rebounding, and, the thing that I love was just the activity. I love the fact that when a ball went up, even if he didn't get the rebound, you saw him reaching for it. You saw him getting a fingertip on it. Little things like that may not necessarily show up in a stat sheet, but when you're sitting down and you're watching a video of this game and you're the Boston Celtics and you're looking at guys that you're on the fence about whether they're going to play, whether they're not going to play, it's those little things, those hustle plays, those stats that aren't stats, but in the eyes, they're definitely part of the eye test when you're trying to decide who's going to play and who's not. Kada did a good job of asserting himself with the minutes he got tonight.
Should Luke be nervous?
Hell yeah, Luke should be nervous. Even if Kada didn't play, Luke should be nervous. Limit square Luke should always be nervous.
You don't want to be nervous. You want to be confident.
No, I mean, and again, this is just one game. I mean, this is just one game, so you don't want to go overboard with, Kada mania. But
right.
There's no denying there's certain things that he did tonight that are part of what he's about and why he's on this team. And if you start looking down the road at when you're playing a Philadelphia, for example, would Kada be a better matchup to play against a guy like Joel Embiid than Luke? And again, Luke's not going to shut him down, and neither is Kada. But Kada damn sure is going to be more physical with him. And you don't know how that physicality is going to deal with a guy like Embiid. So I think Kada, more than anything else, his play tonight justified why he's on the roster. He showed the things that if you're a Celtics fan, if you're Celtics coaching staff, the things that you want to see him do in an actual game and not just, playing for the main, Celtics, G League basketball, which, again, he's already shown that he can dominate and play at that level. But guess what? That's not what they're paying you for. They don't need you to be a G League all-star. They need you to be an NBA potential rotation guy.
Exactly. Some guy that can help off the bench. We've talked about the bench being a problem for this team, but as of late, they're starting to see some more production. We talked about Kada. Pritchard's been hot and cold, but Hauser, once again tonight, draining those 3 Sherrod late in the game here. He talk about confidence. This guy, I don't think I've seen him more confidence in the league.
Hauser has been really, really good. And I thought what he did tonight, and again, as much as people like to jump on Joe Missoula for coaching decisions and non-decisions, the decision to keep Sam coming off the bench was just an absolute stroke of genius because Sam, with the guys that they're missing, is much more valuable as a sub coming off the bench than as a starter. And I give Joe, I give him credit for not forcing that issue because typically when one of their guards has been out, you just throw Sam out there. But they went with Banton, and Banton I thought did a good job when he was out there. Didn't try to force anything, didn't seem awkward, uncomfortable out there. He just played the role that he needed to play, and that is be a solid defender, keep the ball moving on offense, and if you got a chance at a layup, take it. If you got a wide open three, take that. And he did that. He had one open three that Tatum set up, and he missed it. But you're okay with that shot because it was wide the hell open. You didn't feel as though he was trying to be something that he's not. He understands his role in this team. He knows he's got to get in there and contribute in whatever area they need him to. And tonight, I thought it was defense. He was one of the guys that was spending time on, DeJounte Murray, who was freaking 2 for 12. His only 2 made baskets came in the final 4:48 of the game. So he was a non-scoring factor for the entire night up until the last, 5 minutes of the game. And again, when you have a guy that's buried on your bench who can come in and help you in a particular area that you need that night, because when you don't have Drew Holiday, that's a huge hole in what you do defensively. You need guys like, Banton to come in there and give you a little something at that end of the floor.
Yeah, we talked about Kada. What about Banton? I mean, you just mentioned him, obviously, but I mean, this is a guy that gets the starting nod tonight. Might see that happen a little bit more often, depending on the severity and some of these injuries. Is he somebody that we can expect to see those minutes start to tick up here on this team and really contribute, or what did you see there?
No, I don't think so. I can't shake what Nick Nurse, who had him in Toronto, said that he can be really impressive, and he could be, he struggles. Kind of and basically, that was Nick Nurse's very politically correct way of saying he can be amazingly awesome some nights and complete trash the other. That was what Nick Nurse was really trying to say. And we saw the good Banton tonight. We saw him play within himself, not try to do too much, but make sure he had an impact and made an impression on that coaching staff. This was a good game for him. And again, it's not just the fact that he was 3 for 5, had 8 points, 5 rebounds, had an assist. It was the fact that he played under control, and I can't, help but you look at the stat sheet and not look so much at what he did, but what the guy that he spent a decent amount of time defending did. DeJounte Murray was a non-factor, and this is a guy that, not that long ago was a borderline all-star in this league. So,
really?
Yeah. I mean, he really did a good job with him. Jalen got some of that too. Get some of that blame pie for DeJounte's rough night. But again, when you are a guy like Banton and you know that your minutes, the only reason you're balling out tonight is because 2 guys are down. You have to make the most of that moment, and I thought he did a great job of that.
Yeah, and like you had said, I mean, being able to limit them on the defensive end, talking about Murray or even Capella was, he's not an offensive guy, but Sadiq Bey, another quiet night for him. Hawks did get production, and they are a team that they're not looking to dominate down low anyways. They're a team that shoots threes. They try to score as early as often as they possibly can. They took 53 threes tonight, and they still hit a good chunk of them. What did they end up with? Hawks went 19 of 53. So, I mean, that's Celtics hit 13 threes tonight and still ended up winning this game by double digits. So it goes to show you how the Celtics are just finding other ways to, get buckets and get defensive stops on the other end. If the Hawks are really going to get the majority of their points in the 3-point line, then they're playing solid interior defense. And that's the guys like Kada, that's guys like Banton that we mentioned that are stepping into these roles here and contributing, not necessarily racking up the points, but preventing points on the other end,
Right. And this is for Banton, this was a perfect team really for him to be out there against, because you look at this Hawks lineup and they start a lot of perimeter wing guys. I mean, basically Capella is the only non-wing that they have on the floor when they start. And so the Celtics counted with having a team full of wings with, Al Horford, the only non-wing. And so it was wings versus wings. And the Celtics, with no disrespect to Atlanta, but the Celtics are deeper at that wing position than Atlanta was. And they showed that. Tatum got pretty much whatever he wanted. Jaylen Brown was able to get out in transition whenever he wanted to. And Derek White was, again, a problem, finding guys in great position to score while also getting his points. And as you mentioned earlier, Sam Hauser come in there and just target practice for him, just bang, 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 doing what he does well. And so this, again, I touched on it a little bit earlier, but Joe Missoula did not make this more complicated than it needed to be. You're looking at the scouting report. You see that they start 4 wings and a big. So what do? You start 4 wings and a big, knowing that your 4 wings are better than theirs. And this, I think that's the one thing Joe Missoula has to, I think, really become more comfortable with doing, and that's keeping it simple when you don't need to complicate things. This was a game where he could have easily gone with like a Lamar Stevens, for example, in the starting lineup instead of Dalano. And I think that would have been a mistake. And you know how much I love Lamar Stevens. Well, I have been screaming.
We're all waiting to see Lamar Stevens.
Yeah, but this was a game that Lamar Stevens should not have been in that starting lineup. I think he should have played. I definitely think he should have played, but not someone that I would have had in the starting lineup, because I think Banton is a much better fill-in when you don't have a Drew Holiday, you don't have a Porzingis. That helps you match up better with them defensively. So good win for the Celtics. Good contributions from lots of different guys. Joe Missoula, I thought, again, set this thing up ideally with that starting lineup that he had out there. A starting lineup that, again, if you're missing Porzingis and Drew Holiday, I don't necessarily think this is the elixir to that potential problem. I think this was just the right solution, the right lineup to play against this team in this moment. So it'll be, and again, I'm hoping Bobby and Josue can get us a little bit more insight on just the latest on Drew Holiday, when he's going to come back. Yeah. And ditto for Porzingis, who it sounds like he's going to be out for a couple more games at least, because I think he's going to be reevaluated in about a week or so. I think that's the latest on that. If that's the case, he's probably going to miss a couple more games.
Yeah, they're obviously going to try to play it safe with him. You mentioned Clint Capella not too long ago, and I guess my question is Clint Capella still alive?
Victimized.
Jaylen Brown had an unbelievable poster on Capella tonight. Just another one.
The body chalk is still fresh in the court. The body chalk is still fresh in the court. And Capella, you could see, when you look back, when you see the replay of the dunk, you could tell that he knew that, there really is such a thing in the NBA as wrong place at the wrong time. Because he wanted none of that.
I think he just looked down after, just like, oh, what have I done? What have I done? But that was a great move by Jaylen, just to get, gets the ball. I think it was off offensive rebound. I think makes a nice move on Trae Young, who is obviously not anything close to a lockdown defender, but it was still a great move. Switches hands, goes from left to right, and just throws down. Just a ruthless. I think Jaylen Brown had some pent up anger. I don't know what was going through his mind at that moment, but he was able to find it and took it out on poor Clint Capella, man.
Yeah. They were really, really good at just finding matchups. And this is the toughest thing, I think, for a team like the Celtics. You have a number of guys that have the ability to get their own shot one-on-one, and balancing that with keeping the ball moving and not selling on the good shots, but trying to prep yourself for great ones. I thought they did a really, really good job of that, because there were a number of possessions where they had a matchup where you had a Jaylen or a Jason matched up with, Trae Young, and that's basically, that's look, that's barbecue chicken. He is about to get, and they went there from time to time, but they didn't give Atlanta a steady diet of that. So Atlanta never could really adjust to it, because the Celtics didn't do it enough that forced them to adjust. They did it every now and then. And again, Derek White had one of my favorite moves where he got him on the block, reset, got it back, and just gave him one of those old man at the playground, elbows to the solar plex, and laid it up. It was a beautiful move. Shout out to all the dad bods out there. Derek White is repping all the dad bods who still got a little game. Much respect. Much respect.
Derek White is the king of the dad bods. Is that what I'm hearing, Sherrod?
Oh my God!
He might have a problem with that label, but
you know what though? The thing about that is Derek White is probably going to look the same in like 10 years, in 15 years, which is awesome.
Yeah,
that's awesome, because he's already got the game, and then he's going to have wisdom. So he's going to have old man strength and wisdom, and this game. Come on, big fan of Derek White. He had a great game. Another one who had a really good game.
Yeah, he was, 0 for 6 from 3, but still figuring out ways to contribute. 5 of 13 from the field, 11 assists, and that plus-minus numbers is the one that really stands out. Plus 29 tonight in a game that, if you look down the box score, Horford's at a plus 17, but after that, for example, Tatum's a plus 3, Brown's a plus 5. So to see, Derek White have that much of a positive effect on these games, regardless of the players that are coming in and out, that's something that you really want to. You want to look for a guy who is productive regardless of who is in the game around him. And to see that plus 29 out there, it tells you obviously, well, he must not have been a big part of too many of those runs that Atlanta went on. But he's just, and it makes perfect sense. He's almost like the glue of this roster, you could almost say at this point.
He really is, Jimmy. And the thing I love about Derek, he's just so unassuming about it. I mean, If you talk to him, he's just like, I'm just out here hooping. It's just kind of how he looks at it. And the thing that I like about his plus minus is that it's a little bit different than some players whose plus minus is more about them just being in the right place at the right time. He has the ball in his hands a lot. When he doesn't have the ball in his hand, he's usually guarding either the best or second best perimeter scorer. So the role that he plays when he's on the floor is vital to this team being able to execute and do the things that they want to do successfully. And the fact that when he was on the floor in this game, they were plus 29, and you look at the final score and they win by 10, then that means that they were minus 19, when he was not on the floor. So, again, a big fan of what Derek White brings to the table. And the thing I keep coming back with him is he's just so unassuming about it all. I mean, how many guys do you really have in the league who could bitch and moan about, I should get more shots, look at my numbers, I should get the ball in my hand more. He could be that guy if he really wanted to, and he would have the receipts to back up why he deserves that. But he doesn't. He just wants to win and contribute whenever he needs to. Tatum has to get on him from time to time to take the damn shot, and he responds. So much respect to Derek White.
Yeah, I mean, White's just a guy that's been getting better and better. I would say since his.
I wonder if Joe Missoula talked yet.
Season. Missoula has spoken. Amit's working on getting a couple clips in, so we'll toss them up on the screen when we do. And I'm waiting for Amit to give me the heads up, and I'll cue that for everybody. But we got Bobby at the game, Josue at the game as well. Those guys are getting their information together, and they'll be joining us hopefully shortly. Sherrod obviously there as well. Sherrod, anything else? On the Hawks side, is this a team that the Celtics or anybody should be concerned about seeing down the road? I mean, we know that they can score. We saw, Bogdanovich tonight was, one of the best shooters out there coming off the bench. And, he's always been sort of an underrated guy. He's not somebody who's going to be in the limelight, and he gets the job done. But, Trae Young, it seems like he's not – Trae Young is Trae Young, right? I mean, he's going to get his. He's going to put up 25 shots a game. He's going to end up with over 25 points typically. And you kind of live and die with how he shoots the ball. But, and then you had Hunter tonight with 24. But do these guys have enough? Murray had a bad one. I don't know. I just don't know if the Hawks are a legitimate team to be.
No. I mean, they're a team that's going to be in that conversation for one of the last playoff spots, probably playing game. They're like, they're 8-8 now or something like that. Trae Young is just a dynamic scorer. And Sadiq Bey, this was a bad game for Sadiq. Sadiq is a better shooter. I'm surprised he only got 7 shots off. And DeJounte Murray, like as I mentioned earlier, he wasn't that far removed from being, putting up borderline all-star type numbers. And he was just horrible in this game. And I give Banton some credit for that. Jaylen Brown was on him for a little bit as well. But I just don't feel this Hawks team has the kind of talent that if you see them in a best of 7 and you take them seriously, and that's the key, take them seriously, treat them as if that's a team that could potentially beat you. I don't see that lasting more than 5, maybe 6 games tops if you're the Celtics. But Trae Young, again, he's going to get his. And if you notice in this game, typically when the Celtics seemed like they were just about to really make this a 20, 25-point game potentially, Trae Young would make a shot that would bring it back to 17, or he'd break a shot that 18-point lead down to 50.
Floater,
he did a lot of things right. And as you mentioned, Bogey off the bench, that's the only thing I can think of is that the coaching staff feels that him and Trae for an extended period of time would not work well together. Because they're both shot makers, and there's only one ball. Last time I checked, you can play with at one time. I'm not sure the ball distribution with those two on the floor would be good enough. But DeJounte Murray, he's their off guard. He's a better defender than Bogey, but overall, he doesn't have the range of Bogey. He doesn't have, I think, the scoring consistency that we've seen from Bogey. And I'm not losing sleep over the Hawks. I don't think most teams at the top of the East are worried about the Hawks. Other than that, that might be a team that you'd see maybe in the first round of the playoffs, if at all.
All right, we do have some video coming in, but before we do that, and I want to remind everybody that our show today is brought to you guys by FanDuel Sportsbook. Right now, get $150 in bonus bets when you place a winning, emphasis on winning, $5 money line bet. Visit FanDuel.com/Boston, guys. It's very simple. You find a heavy favorite. You toss $5 on that favorite, and you win that bet, ideally, and then you get $150 bonus bets. You can toss it on I would probably say, if I was a smart betting man, I might toss it on whoever the Patriots are playing in that week, because it doesn't seem, Sherrod, like the Patriots are winning any games anymore. They had a layup opportunity today against the Giants, against a guy that was, I think, bagging groceries a couple weeks ago, and now he's throwing. He's winning games for the Giants. Talking about DeVito here, so I think, yeah.
Let me just say something really quick, Jimmy. DeVito is a former Syracuse Orange.
Yeah.
All right. So put some respect on that man's name.
Yeah, I should have known.
Right? And DeVito is from New Jersey. So listen, DeVito's in New Jersey. You put some respect on that, Jimmy. It might cost you dearly if you don't.
Well, you know what?
Put some respect on the DeVito name. All right.
He deserves the respect. The Patriots, on the other hand, do not deserve any respect after today's showing. But if you're hoping for them to lose the game and get that number 1 or number 2 draft pick, then you were up cheering on. You were on your feet today after that missed field goal at the end of the game. Just an ugly kick. But hey, you got the result that if you're a Patriots fan, you probably kind of wanted, even if you don't want to admit it. Anyways, guys, you want to head back to FanDuel Sportsbook, download the app, toss in your $5 bet. I don't even know who the Pats play next week. I don't even care anymore, but you can look that up and just bet on that team to win next week. They play the Chargers. So that's a good one to maybe toss a couple bucks on the Chargers. It doesn't seem like the Pats are looking to win games anymore. So you want to do that over at FanDuel.com/Boston. I'm going to put this up on the screen so you can see all the fine print there. And we will go now we have a clip here from Joe Missoula talking about a little bit of experimenting 15 games into the season, whether or not he's still doing that.
The lineups you have, do you still have to kind of play with that at this point?
No, that's something I'm much more comfortable doing this year. Is you obviously, like you said, you want to win every game, but you have to kind of think with the end in mind. And so whether it's you leave a lineup out there a little bit longer, whether it's you keep a coverage going a little bit longer because you want to see it and you want to work at it and you want to see if that works. Sometimes it's changing multiple coverages to get that. So yeah, I mean, I'm much more comfortable with that. Our guys are much more open-minded to that. And so I do think you have to find that balance of doing both of those things. And it may cost you a 6-0 run, an 8-0 run. I don't want it. I won't let it cost us a game. But yeah, I'm living in that comfort space there, and our guys are doing a good job of being open-minded to it.
Sherrod, thoughts on that?
I like that. I like that. I mean, the thing about Joe, and again, one of my I think Joe's going to be really. He's not done anything up to this point that makes me think he's not going to be a better coach than what we saw last year. And they were pretty damn good with him last year. All things considered, him taking over when he did and all the drama that they had. And with an offseason where there he is. Jay-Z's in the building.
Finish that thought, Sherrod, before John blows everyone else's thoughts up.
Yeah.
This is my foam finger. I was at the game.
Yeah, you look familiar. Did I see you sitting courtside?
Foam finger.
I don't recognize you without the green pom-pom.
I thought Missoula was good though, man. I thought again, his control and comfort level with his roster is much better. And the thing that Joe didn't really talk about, and I don't think he ever will, but there's a different level of trust he's got with those guys at the end of the bench that he did not have with last year's team, because he was literally learning how to trust every one of those guys, and they were learning how to trust him. I mean, if you're Tatum and you're Jalen and you're out there balling, and you see the guy on the second row is now your head coach, it's going to take you some time to get comfortable with that, and vice versa. So Joe, I think, has done a really good job of figuring out how to trust guys and put them in positions where they can be their best. Like, playing Banton tonight made so much sense because you're playing an Atlanta Hawks team that has a lot of wings. So even when they're running their defense and their switches, you're probably going to get switched out on a guy that's your size. Because remember, he's 6'7". Now, if you're playing a team that maybe has a lot smaller guys, or they go with a little bit more muscle and mass, he might have got his ass kicked in a really bad way out there tonight. And so, I give Joe credit for putting him in a position where he can be successful, and Banton, to his credit, making the most of this rare opportunity, because and I know that when Drew comes back and Porzingis comes back, Banton is going to be back to doing what you and I will be doing, and that's watching the game.
Yeah.
I can only assume you spent the first 30 minutes on Kada, right?
We spent a chunk of it.
What do you want to say about Kada, John?
A lot of Kada.
Kada mania is here, even if it's just one game.
The chat's been all about it, and rightfully so.
Chemo.
I'm not ready to give up on Lemon Square Luke just yet.
My man Chemo, who my guess is he sits there all the time. Had some really prime seats. Gave a shout out to the Garden Report crew.
Speaking of shout out, John, I hate to cut you off. I need to give a shout out to Dan from Costa Rica, who literally came up to me and Josue and had a conversation before we went on. So before I forget, Dan from Costa Rica.
Chemo and Dan from Costa Rica.
Shout outs. Shout out to Flowing today. I don't have anything to shout out. I haven't seen anyone today. So
nobody ever recognizes me. So that's cool. Josue and Bobby everywhere they go.
Jalen recognize you? You guys are practically face to face out there.
He shot me a look.
After the dunk on Capella, he said
that was going the other way. Then I booed him the rest of the night. When they were going that way, I was booing them.
I love that.
When they were coming at me, I was like,
"Cheers,
go Jalen." Wow, 20, man. Thank you.
Nice.
Chargers.
Right. $1 million on the Chargers next week.
Chargers sneaky can lose any game. Okay.
You know what?
Herbert loses a lot, but I still don't
Justin
underestimate the Pats, John.
Yeah, Justin Herbert played at Oregon, and Oregon is my son Isaiah's favorite team. And Isaiah's made it clear, I don't watch Chargers games because I know how it's going to happen. What's going to happen? Herbert's going to play well. They're going to lose.
Yeah. Herbert does have big game jitters, I think, too. But that being said, we're talking about the Patriots here. They don't even have a quarterback. Like, we don't even know what backup quarterback.
But the Giants have Tommy DeVito.
That's all that matters. They do.
Yeah.
Syracuse guy.
Yeah. So
who wasn't good.
I'll start with my take.
Yeah.
All right. Kada deserves a shout because that guy had the best stat line ever because he basically had as many rebounds as he had shots because he just kept
missing
his own ones, which was great. But he's like Messi with the left. If he gets it there, 50% of the time it's going in. It's just from him, he's only shooting from 1 foot away. So if Kada can just work on that 1-footer game, he could be unstoppable. Okay?
John, is he your new is he your new Time Lord? Is Kada your new Time Lord?
Oh, there's never going to be a new Time Lord.
Only because never. Because first of all, no, it's impossible. It's impossible.
I don't know, John. I think there might be a low-key bromance brewing with Kada. If we see 2 or 3 more games like this from Kada, John, I think you will be.
But here's what I don't like. I don't like when things happen that reinforce agendas, because then when we start talking about it, it appears like an agenda. I do not have an anti-Cornette agenda. I just think that Cornette, I think he can do some things. He's got a nice touch around the rim. He's sneaky, he's crafty. He can't really defend and he can't rebound. And so when they needed rebounding and when you saw what happened in the second half there, and I think a lot of us, every time we were wondering, why don't they just throw Kate out there when they need another big or another body or they're getting beat up inside? And the first time we saw him this year, he looked like he did not belong at all, right. But that's the point, is you got to throw some guys into the fire to see if they can help you. I don't think it's shocking if Kada takes some Cornette minutes or takes all of them, if what they're looking for off the bench from their third center, is somebody who can come in and bang and crash the glass, create a little havoc, tip some balls. I think that's good for you. It's just Cornette's just a smart, heady player, and he knows where to be, he's just smart. He's get to his spot. If you see him all night, it's really cool seeing it up close too. I actually like Cornette. I like a lot of what he does. He flashes, he gets open. If they don't see him, he clears back out. He doesn't just stand there. He doesn't get in people's way. He understands spacing on offense. He does what he can do. And every once in a while, he can capitalize on it. But I like the Kada stuff. I'd like to see I want to see all. I want to see Kada. I want to see Banton. I want to see Stevens. I want to see if any of them can play. I really think these first 40 games should really be more open auditions to see if some of these guys can contribute. So when you get decent contributions from guys, that's kind of encouraging because you want to know that when you're down a starter or two starters, you have a shot.
Hell
Yeah.
So I liked it. I liked him. I mean, he's a little sloppy, but I like the energy. I liked what you got out of him.
Yeah, he's very like rough around the edges. He's not polished by any stretch, obviously in the offensive game, talking about Kada here. But that's okay because they just, like you said, they want him to come in. Sherrod mentioned it already. Coming off the bench, do what you do best, get physical, bang down low. Yeah, there's only one time Lord, that's for sure.
And I liked his defense.
He's on timeout right
shots. Now. He altered shots. He was a presence when he was in there.
Exactly. And they're going to need that at points. It could be a great matchup guy. I mean, Sherrod mentioned it earlier. Maybe that's a guy that you play against Embiid, for example. Maybe Cornette's not the guy against Embiid. Breaking news. But you have the ability to mix and match guys. And what was the word that Missoula was just asked about? Experimenting, Sherrod. And he basically said that he's got more confidence this year in doing that.
Yeah. And I think a lot of that is just him being a year older, a year wiser, and having a full offseason to kind of evaluate guys and look at what they can do and break down film and just do all the stuff that a head coach does when he has time to do it. And so, Joe is going to be better. I think we all agree that Joe's going to be a better coach this year than he was last year. And I didn't think he totally sucked last year, but he definitely had room to get better. And I think he has. And the biggest thing that he's done more so this year, I think, than last year is trust guys who may not necessarily be named Tatum and Brown and Horford.
Right.
And that's important when you're trying to build this team out because you never know when you're going to have nights like this where you're going to be down one or two starters, and you're going to need someone to step in and fill that void. And Banton and, Kada did a really good job of stepping in to fill the void. They were down to their core guys.
Yeah.
I love this chat. Garden report for life. Pat suck. Please tank. Go Bruins and Celtics. Happy holidays.
This should be our mantra. This should be our mantra.
Put that on a bumper sticker.
Put that on a T-shirt.
Yeah.
Put that in the playoff when we have our tournament.
I like that. What I was thinking about.
Garden report for life.
I like that one a lot.
Drew.
Go ahead, Jimmy. Thank you, Drew.
No,
I think that's his second one tonight, so that's good. We got Kada in the locker room. We're going to hear from him in a little bit. I didn't know he could talk because I've never heard him speak, so I'm really interested to hear what it sounds like.
I've heard him speak.
Let's make sure we get the mic close because I think he's of the soft spoken.
He's a low talker.
Well, he did a walk-off interview after the game, and I'm sitting here and I'm listening to it, and I'm really struggling to understand what the hell he said.
He has an accent, but I think I watched a video of Bobby interviewing him, and I'm pretty sure Bobby said, "How do you pronounce your name?" And I think he said Keta. So everyone who's giving me shit, I think I'm right. I could be wrong, but I think I'm right.
Wait, Kada, not Kada?
I think it's Keta.
I'll take it.
But I could be wrong, but Bobby will know because he asked him the question.
Nick still calls Amit. So like
really quick, what I was gonna say
I'll correct it. I'll correct it just like that,
Sure, no, I get it. What I was gonna say after reading that comment, it reminded me a couple of days ago, I was thinking about Black Friday and like all the deals going around, and I was like, why the hell don't we have shirts for sale yet? Do I have to strangle Nick?
Tell him walk away, John. Tell him to walk away.
Don't do this now.
Walk away.
I want shirts for sale.
Stop it.
Walk away.
So we can give a discount.
You're going to ruin my life if you continue this right now. You have
walk
to
away.
Stop.
Just
Okay.
walk away.
Walk away.
Jimmy, I'm your friend. Just walk away.
This is wear a shirt.
Jimmy, this is when your friend is grab you by the shoulder and just say, "Come with me. Let's go have a couple drinks."
That's happened to me a few times, Sherrod.
Exactly. I know, Jimmy. Oh, trust me. Yeah, I know.
This is gonna shock you. That exact scenario has happened on more than one occasion.
Yeah.
Let's just go for a little walk and get a couple drinks. And
Okay,
Jimmy. John, move it right along.
Yeah.
All right, shirts are coming. Anyways, next.
Yes, next. On a broader scale with this game, like you want to know that you can win when you're down one or two starters. So much of the last game was about, wow, they're really short when they're down two guys. Mm-hmm. I mean, Atlanta's Atlanta. I know you can think of them whatever you think of them. They're not, they're a pretty mid team, but it's a team that
Nice.
forced you back to to play them in they extended a series when they beat you without Murray, and you should have closed out and made things harder on you than needed to be in the playoffs last year. They weren't an easy out, and you beat them down 2 starters tonight. That's pretty good, overall. And I thought it was a pretty decent team game. I think this was, I like the way Jalen played. I do think they got a little bit ISO-y in the third.
They did.
And that was the only stretch where it was come on, guys. That was the only place it got a little your ball, my ball, your turn, my turn. Other than that, I kind of liked how they were going. They were finding guys all day long for threes. I thought Horford missed 11 threes. I think I looked at it. It was only 5. Those were all good looks. They got a ton of good looks. The threes fall. They win this game by 25 points, and that's really what it came down to. They just missed a ton of open shots, and they still did enough to win.
Yeah.
So I got nothing. I got nothing bad. Derek White played a great game. Missed 6 threes.
Right.
What did Al? Al ended up 0 for 5. Yeah.
We haven't even really talked about Tatum and all, but he came up with some huge shots in the second half there too. Just keep the Hawks at bay. So he continues to just drop 30+ points like it ain't no thing.
Yep.
Well, it isn't for him. I mean, this is who he is. I mean, it's
the way he's doing it now. He has some just great drives and great moves now. He just gets to the rim so much easier than he ever has.
I'm loving the fact that he's attacking more than he has ever attacked before. And he's drawing contact and he's finishing through contact. He's doing so many things that, the last couple of years before this year, we're thinking damn, why doesn't he do that? Why doesn't he, get guys on the elbow who are freaking 4 inches shorter than him and just shoot right over the top of them?
That's like Joe calling a timeout during a run. That never happens. Okay, what Sherrod just did there.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
I don't think I've ever heard him swear either.
That never happens.
Swear jar.
He's just got. I just love the fact that he's taking advantage of mismatches more than he's done in the past.
Yeah,
because it was so frustrating watching him just letting the Patrick Beverleys of the world that he can just score at will over. Yeah. And he's shooting 28-footers.
Let's yeah, no doubt. Why? Right?
Exactly. Why? So
why?
I'm gonna blame Jimmy.
Hey, Ahmed, I'm looking at 2 sound bites here. Is the Joe one from tonight?
We did a Joe one already.
Oh, you did a Joe one. I got Nemus here in the locker room. We're gonna hear from him right now.
Hopefully, we'll get his last name down.
I think it's Nemus.
Nemus Keta.
Are you about to play it?
It was pretty good. I felt like going back to the G helped me getting back in the rhythm. Getting a couple of minutes, a couple of games under my belt. Pretty close games too, so I felt like it was the best decision for me to get back into shape and to get rhythm. So I felt like it was a really good thing for me. No, I think that's a little bit of what I bring to the table, like being an offensive rebounder, being able to crash or attract the second defender to you on the offensive glass, and I feel like it's just one of those things I can help with. And with all these guys, we all emphasize crashing, so this coming along really well for us. We want to keep going.
First of all, it's been confirmed by Ahmed that it's Keita.
Jimmy's wrong.
I'm gonna listen. I'm gonna wait until I hear it myself. I know Bobby.
And I think the S it's not a Nemus, it's Namish. Keita. Number 2, back to the G might make the Garden Report bracket. Going back to the G.
Back to the G.
And so I think it's fair. I mean, he suffered an injury here. He was a very springy guy in the preseason. I don't think he's got it all the way back. I think that is an asset. If you got some guy, I mean, it's like we're not comparing people to Rob. I'm not Tommy comparing like Stevesma to Bill Russell or whatever. But
that was so great, John.
That was peak.
That was so
Tommy.
And when you talk to Stevesma about it, he was just like, "He did what?"
He was like, "What?" And nor am I comparing Rob to Russell in this scenario. I'm just saying it's like everyone wants like, "Oh, did you get this? Did you get that?" No, I mean, Rob was unique in what he could do, but I think Kada can give you some of that disruptive aspect to his game. And I still think there's a little more lift there to be had because he was dunking a ton in the preseason and he looked really athletic. That's why everyone was like, holy crap, play this guy. I didn't know much about him, but he was, you see him and the eye test tells you like, oh, he looks physically like he can compete at this level. It's just speed of the game, knowing where to be, what he's supposed to do, switches, rotation, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't really matter for a guy like that. He's playing drop. He's sitting back there and he's just going to try to pick off, or challenge or alter some shots wherever he can and then just hit the glass hard. A lot of people in the chat are saying like, it's so refreshing to see a guy grab a rebound with two hands. Like, as opposed to Cornette's a little tappy. I think what killed Cornette is when he had position on Capella. I don't know if he got back in after this. He had position on Capella on one play in the first half. He didn't play in the second half at all, right? I think he had good position on Capella. He goes up and Capella just bing, bing, and just takes it from him. And I think it was like, all right, we can't be like, you got to be able to grab those. And I think that was kind of it. And that's why Kada, I think, got the second half run. It just wasn't doing it there on the glass.
Right. And the bottom line, he was just more impactful. I mean, he made the most of his minutes out there. And, even when he wasn't scoring and even even when he wasn't getting rebounds, he was still getting his hands on the ball, keeping it alive, giving them a chance to get the rebound. And little things like that. Jimmy and I talked about this earlier. You got to do those little things when you know your minutes are little. Yep. Because you just don't know when you're going to get out there. You've got to put something together while you're on the floor that shows this coaching staff that you can actually benefit them in some capacity when given an opportunity to play. And I thought Kada did a great job of that.
I'm coming back in a little bit. I've got a pie in the oven.
What?
No, I don't. I'm kidding.
Okay.
It's
like you have a problem is what you have.
You know what we did, though? I went back to the well and made the pecan pie brownies again because they were so good they got eaten and nobody in the house got one. And my daughters were upset. So I had to remake them. And I brought them to a poker game, shared them, brought the rest of the tray back, and everybody got some. So, yeah, we did make a second Thanksgiving dessert. I'll be back. I'll be back in 2 seconds, guys.
Yeah. Okay. See you, John. John's just coming and going as he pleases. Did you see him at the game? Did you see him at the game?
No, I didn't.
No, you didn't. No.
I didn't. I noticed Jalen every now and then. I noticed Jalen would lock on in a section of the crowd. So I just didn't think anything of it. So I'm wondering if that might have been him giving, Jay-Z, the evil eye.
Well, we lost John, but we gained something far greater in Josue Pavon. There he is.
Hi, what's up, fellas? What's going on?
Josue, good to see you, brother.
Sherrod, I think you've been hanging out with Max and not too much, man. You got that sailor's mouth going right now. Swearing, I haven't heard you swear like that on camera ever.
You've been here all the time?
Yeah, I've been here for a little. I was here for a little while.
Damn, okay.
I gotta put some money in the jar when I go back to school.
I literally said out loud when John said that he has to go get a pie out of the oven, I was like, no, you do not. Like, you know what I mean? Like, as if someone was next to me, I was like, he's not baking another pie, but he's just joking, I guess.
We need to send him like professional help if he's making more pies right now.
That passionate conversation we had the night before Thanksgiving, man, that was good stuff. You could just see the fire in his eyes, man. Like, he doesn't mess around. He's no casual. For sure.
That's always a good one. Josue, tell us something from the locker room. What do you got for us?
Oh man, just a lot of just sort of guys just giving each other a pat on the back, so to speak, right? In terms of what Joe Missoula is pretty much what he was saying when he stepped up to the podium. It's interesting because he usually doesn't have us waiting very long, but I felt like that was well deserved because he was telling his team just how good of a job they did in terms of the effort, cleaning up the glass, finding out. You guys actually just talked about a little while ago, figuring out ways to win when those 3-point shots aren't falling. So I feel like this is a special win for Joe Missoula, and the way I see it is this is the first of many games without Kristaps Porzingis, right? Life without Porzingis started tonight, and the Celtics showed out in a big way, man. You got 15 boards out of Al Horford, who I felt like just when he was heading to the floor, giving everyone the dats and pounds like he always does, and getting ready to check, to start the game. He just had that look that he was gonna work his ass off tonight, and he did that for sure. And for Kada to get this opportunity and what he did in that first thing, because that's not easy, right, guys? I mean, to check in the way he did in that first half, deliver 5 points, 2 of 7. He was fighting down there for those points, right? 6 rebounds in 7 minutes right before halftime. I just feel like set the tone, and he was able to build on that for sure in the second half. There's a reason why we didn't see Cornette in the second half, right? I mean, that's a big part of it. And again, life without Porzingis, cleaning up the glass, hustle plays. These are the type of this is the type of production I'm expecting to see out of these guys. I mean, I'm not saying this team has to have Al grab 15 rebounds every single night, but it's that type of effort and that type of production from the front court that's gonna do it. That's what you need in order to seal a win without Porzingis. I do think this injury is significant in the sense of how this team responds without him in the middle, especially when you have some tougher matchups coming in here this week.
Josue, I'm curious though, Josue, you just listening to you, talk about life without Porzingis, which kind of sucks in theory. Gives me this sense that you're sensing that he's going to be out for a while, and I think most of us, if the Celtics were able to get 60 games out of Porzingis this year, they will take that gladly. But is there a sense that you're getting that he may be out even longer than like maybe 5 or 6 games? Or I mean, what makes you believe that the Celtics really are going to have to, simply have to embrace the fact that you're going to be without Porzingis for a pretty extended period of time?
Just the language that we got from Joe Missoula, for him to say that he's going to miss up to a week and then he'll be reevaluated, that usually isn't a sign of, he's going to miss 3-4 games. This is something I think could be a 2-week window at best, best case scenario. Just, again, based on what Joe Missoula said. Now, a week from today, he can say Kristaps is good to go and he's ready for the next game. But I just feel like the last few years, that's usually not the case. You usually see teams staple another week or so after that initial evaluation. For him to have to be reevaluated in a week tells me that this is going to be a little while. Could be 1 to 2 weeks or even beyond that.
I love what Kada did. I do, and they definitely are going to need that type of effort from the bench. But Porzingis is really good.
I know, man,
and he fits so well with this core group. He gives you basically, a go-to guy talent as your third option. And that is very unusual, very rare. He's that stretch big that they needed to complement Al, who's not shooting the ball as well or taking as many shots from three-point range, and just was a perfect addition to this team. And obviously there's no need to panic because ultimately it's not so much what he does in the regular season, it's having him available for the playoffs. Mm-hmm. But that being said, you still want to ramp up to that. And it just feels that him missing a couple weeks, once he does return, then you got to ramp back up to where you were before the injury. Mm-hmm. And then you're hoping that, there's enough time before the All-Star break, which then you ramp down again. And then you start back up. And you just like to have him available so that if you do sit him, it'll be a load management decision versus an actual injury, which is where we're at now.
Yeah, so. I mean, for sure. And listen, I mean, we talked about not seeing Cornette in that second half because of what Kada was doing out there, but that doesn't mean that we didn't get a solid performance out of Cornette in Orlando, right? It came in a losing effort, but that's the thing, though. Missoula has to find sort of that happy medium of not extending Porzingis minutes into the 20-minute range, right? Limiting him because teams just seem to figure that out, right? When he's in the middle, right? How to attack the rim, and that's what essentially the Orlando Magic did, right? They were feasting off of that. The moment Porzingis was out and then out for the game. So I think what you saw tonight out of Kada, you want to obviously see more of that and see them build off of that. But Missoula does have that other option as well to put Cornette in there. Now, this particular matchup just wasn't great for Cornette when you think about the bigs, the size that they have, up front between Capella and Okongwu coming off the bench. So it's not ideal, but that doesn't mean we're not going to see Cornette do something similar to what we saw in Orlando. I do think that he's capable of doing that. It's just long term, it isn't ideal. However, the Celtics, this is just the position that they're in right now, and of course, it's something that they had to have anticipated coming into the season, and just having someone like Kristaps Porzingis, like you guys said, you want him to be healthy throughout the entire postseason. So this is what you do, to empower him.
What about shoot, I already forgot what I was gonna say. What about Holiday? Any news on him, Josue?
No news. Just that the last minute scratch. He was listed as questionable coming in, but you hope it's just a caution. They're just being cautious, knowing they had the big matchup on Tuesday. The play-in tournament.
John, did you run here, bro?
Yeah, man. You got the Darth Vader thing going on right now.
Like run up the stairs or something?
You're here sounding like Perk when we had him on the app.
No, I literally barely moved. What's going on, guys?
I can hear you breathing.
Sorry about that.
No, it's okay. Just take a deep breath.
I'm just gonna let him catch his breath, y'all. Why you gotta out him like that, man? Just let the man catch his breath.
I couldn't hear over it. What do you mean?
I think everybody knew who that was, but I guess we did kind of put him out there.
That's funny. I wasn't even paying attention.
How concerned are you guys about Drew, though? I mean, where's your level of concern with Drew?
No, I'm not really concerned yet. I'm not concerned yet.
Only a 6 on the scale, maybe.
What's a 10?
A 10 is if
trying to gauge. 6 seems high.
If he had to be reevaluated or something like that. No. Yeah, 6 is kind of high. Maybe a 4 then.
I'm at like a 2. I mean, if he's going, he could possibly be back next game. Like, it's a rolled ankle. I don't think it's something that we're gonna have to deal with.
I just worry about the fact that
you're talking long term
on a 33-year-old. It's a rolled ankle on a 33-year-old.
It's not a knee. Those
okay.
Those ankles
probably
they come back.
I'm at a 3 concern level.
What's your concern level on Bobby Manning?
9. A 1.
Yeah.
9.
Real high.
Yeah, somewhere up.
Hey,
what's the concern?
Bobby's here. Hey.
That's why you said that. I didn't see it.
Yeah.
What's going on?
Squad. Oh, we got the starting 5 right now.
Yeah, everybody. Combine forces here. Nope. Okay. Oh, there we go.
I got you, bro.
One here.
Jimmy's the 3. You're the 3.
We'll have to work on that.
Sherrod's not feeling this at all.
No, Ed, not at all.
That's okay.
There you go, John. There you go.
What do you got?
Power restored. Order is restored now.
Yeah. As soon as I start screwing around, John quickly goes into the driver's seat.
Exactly. That's what I'm talking about.
Hey, 57 minutes, not bad. Before I got the boot.
So Bobby, what do you got?
What are you doing? Where are you? Are you in a safe somewhere?
No, I'm here at the Garden, baby. Solid win. You're down 2 guys here. You're against a team that had scored 114 of the last 4 games, at least as many as 150. So impressive defense here. This defensive floor to start the year has just been rock solid. Even without Porzingis here, Horford steps right in and takes care of that. So I was overall pretty satisfied with this one. There's still some offensive nitpicking I'm doing here, especially as they fall into the bottom half of the league on that end. Another night where you don't shoot well. Great that you can win when that's the case, but a lot of isolation. I thought they passed well early, and it just kind of faded as the game went on, and then they were just relying on the mismatches and the transition runs and all the rest, and of course the offensive rebounding, which is just vehicle for this team at this point. I mean, they're so good at that, and they probably don't win the game without it. So it's great that they're emphasizing that, and they found a way to be so good at it. Kada was awesome in that department. Some super difficult offensive rebounds like we saw from the preseason, and him one on an air ball, which just in my own experience, I would, like I was telling Josue, I would never ever rebound an air ball. Like, you just can't see where it's coming from, and he just was right there. And then another one that rolled off the backboard, he was just like right under it on the baseline, able to put it right back up and in. So I'm mildly excited about him. He struggled on defense. You needed Horford on that spot to seal this game, but another nice rotation big to add to the mix here. So can't beat that. It's good that he showed he can play against a team like this.
Facts.
Hey, dog.
Hey.
By the way, facts my dog means none of you were listening to Bobby. So I'm going to ask each of you to repeat one thing that he said.
He thinks
No. When Jimmy says it, that's what it means. That doesn't mean. That's not what it means when I say it.
Jimmy hasn't been. Sometimes I do it as an experiment. I'm not going to come in and I'm going to see who was paying attention.
Jimmy
and as
gives
soon as
the
Jimmy
extra,
says, "Facts,
the
my
pause.
dog,"
Yeah.
it means he didn't hear a freaking thing that you said.
No, I waited. I waited
I-
for somebody to chime in, like off of Bobby's comment, and then when they didn't, I just said "Facts, my dog," just to break up the space. He was talking about Kada.
Kada?
Yeah, Bobby. That's
Bobby,
his last name, Keta.
I like it.
You asked him that. And
He said,
could've
"I like it."
sworn
Like
That's
it's
what
a
he
new-
said.
I like it.
A
You
new
have the
pronunciation.
video, I think. You asked him personally. How do you pronounce your name?
It's not a
I'm
nickname,
not saying
Bobby.
Kada.
He thinks
But
that's what
I
it is.
I
It's
could have
Kada.
sworn. I could have sworn in the video where you asked him and he said Keta. Can we go
Homeschooling,
find
you
that
got
video?
this one wrong. Homeschooling.
Amit,
man.
can you?
I think
find
I think
video?
he
It's
said it. I
pre-season.
think he said it. He said it with his accent. I think that's what it was.
Well, that's
Blame
why
the
I'm saying it. It was preseason, so Amit, you can hopefully find that and let's put it up, and we'll
Back to the G,
Well,
Jimmy.
that'll-
Back
It's
to the
always
G.
been Kada. It's always been Kada.
No.
Even Ahmed put it in the thing. He said, "Yeah, that's exactly what Ahmed put in the
Yeah.
comment."
Yeah, Amit.
Glad we
Amit-
got that down.
No, it's Keta. Anyways,
Says he passed
Facts,
Luke.
my dog.
Oh, that's a great.
Moving on.
It's a great comment.
That's what everyone wants to know.
Swipe right.
If Bobby
Sorry
said
for keeping
facts, my
facts
dog, right
alive.
after that would have been perfect. Because he's not listening to any of this.
Facts, my dog. Yeah, it was Bobby during my 40-minute pie soliloquy. Was like just facts, my dog tattooed on his forehead. He's like, no, it was what was it we lost Bobby last time?
If facts, my dog had a face, Bobby was rocking it. Yeah.
Facts, my dog should definitely be the next T-shirt. Just means like I don't give a shit.
I just come out of this one, John, and we've talked about this a little bit. I worry they're a little too reliant on the isolation beyond the shooting, which, again, you win this game without the shooting tonight. But Brown struggled. Tatum struggled to take advantage of those at times in this one. And they did ride some timely shooting in the second half to the win here. So I'm still keeping an eye on that. Their assist numbers are really low. They're 28th in passing, John, in terms of total passes, 26th in assists. Jalen, I just asked him about it. He was surprised that they're so low because he said they felt like they're moving the ball well right now. And maybe there's some noise there. Maybe it's early. But this has been a team that's been near the top of the league in assist rate for much of the time I've covered them. And I can't remember them being this low. And I get it. They're exploiting mismatches and going to the post and all that. Transition game's been great. But it just feels a little low right now. And luckily, White picked it up with 11 tonight. He was really swinging it around. The bench was great, moving the ball.
White's essential. He really is. He might be the most essential player. It sounds weird on a team that
I call
has
him. He's
Tatum,
the glue
Porzingis,
guy.
and Brown. He's more than glue. He is
Super glue.
He's their point guard.
The glue, the varnish.
And
Yeah.
we talked about it, Bobby. I thought
Jimmy wins super glue.
I thought in the third quarter they got ISO heavy, and it was they took a lot of bad shots. It was a lot of my turn, your turn sort of stuff. I thought they played better in the fourth quarter, but it is a concern. It's always going to come back to Joe's philosophy of letting them play, not running a lot of plays, not calling a lot of stuff, letting them just kind of hunt out the matchup and then go get it. And it's just too much, like Tatum was dribbling the air out of the basketball, looking for matchups. And at times it worked. And he had some really strong moves and kind of showed why he is who he is. I thought Brown in the third quarter started taking a few off balance followays. Just a couple of them went in. He made a couple of tough buckets, but the overall approach, they're always better when they move it. And you're right. When it's White, it's just a different team with White and Holiday out there for sure. When it's White, he's kind of the only one super focused on that. He's so vital. He's so vital to what this team does.
That's why you give them some leeway tonight. The guys
Yeah.
were missing, and they figured it out.
Yeah. I mean, White had damn near half of their assists tonight. They had 24, and he had 11 of them.
Yeah.
It's hard to put a true estimate on how much they need him. They need him to win a championship in every imaginable way. They're not going to win a championship if Derek White is not on the floor significant minutes and has an opportunity to run the offense. That's him. He's the one guy that when they're getting a little ISO crazy, he's the guy that he can settle them down better than I think Joe Missoula, frankly, because Derek is out there. Derek's on the floor. Derek's the guy that they trust implicitly to make those decisions on the fly. And Derek, he just gets it. I mean, he gets it in a way that no one else on his team gets it when it comes to that stuff. So
Yeah,
Yeah, man.
I agree with
Plus
Kes here too.
29. It's crazy.
Yeah, I agree with Kes 100%. It's just that's the one area where I wish Joe would get involved. Like, if you're talking, I know we're not wasting timeouts to tell, but you know what? He calls a lot of Joe, how many timeouts Joe called tonight because he didn't like what was going on defensively, right? He didn't like a couple of times where they didn't get out on a shooter or didn't get back on something, and he called a couple frustration timeouts. I think he's got to focus some of that energy on the offense too, and I do think we have to. It's a more nuanced discussion than too many threes versus not enough threes. It's just simply it can't only be about the threes. Like that can't be the only thing that he's concerned with, which is did we take enough of them? It has to be a constant emphasis of the ball not sticking and moving it around and working it for the best shot and people making quick decisions. As soon as they go away from it, that's where I would jump right in and be like, nope, we're not doing it. We're not doing the thing that we're supposed to do. I feel like that's not stopped enough, or that's not corrected enough where we see it for long stretches. If we do see it, as you said, Bobby, it's for a half or something. And it's like then they go away from it and it's okay, and I find that odd.
Yeah, they went into the half court and attacked head on way too often in this game. And Tatum's pick and roll numbers aren't great to start this year, which is interesting, especially with Porzingis here. Browns have been decent, in fact, better than Tatum's. And when he gets to that, I feel like he does make some good decisions. And he talked a little bit about finding that balance between being aggressive, who he is as a scorer, which is a super aggressive offensive player, and making the reads. And he said he's been thankful that he's continued to get those opportunities here as the playmaker. And I thought he did a decent job with it again tonight, beyond the numbers in front of us right here. So it's always going to be those old habits. And it's going to be interesting to watch over the next week here because Porzingis has made their playmaking much easier. And it's good that they shifted to White in a way tonight, who I think is much more natural in that position than both of the Jays are. We always talk about it, John, whether you're going to put that responsibility in their hands or the point guards. And tonight they went to the point guard, especially in the second quarter, for some more, aggressive playmaking and finishing inside. So that was good. It was going to be an adjustment tonight. And so the fact that they scrapped this one out, that they defended as well as they did, that they just found a way was good because this is a tough team they're playing against here. And I'm just going to keep an eye on this offense because it doesn't seem like it's going in the right direction off the way they started this year. And now they don't have maybe their most essential player in Porzingis, which concerns me a little bit. I do worry about the calf sometimes, John, just because of the connection in the feet, ankle, Achilles, all that stuff. Like it can just be a tricky one. And it seems like the MRI was good. Joe's never going to get into that stuff, but the fact he's going to miss a week here at least isn't great, especially with Chicago, Philly, even the in-season tournament next week.
Bobby,
You had to sneak
that
that
in.
in.
Slipped that in there.
I swear you're messing with me. Right?
I thought we were so close, John. I thought we were so close to getting through this without the
He just trolled
IST.
you.
Is he gonna be ready for the in-season tournament? That's all I care about.
What I wanted to ask Bobby
is my boy gonna play again?
Is he gonna walk again?
Is he gonna play?
Bob, what about the ball movement? You sound down on the offense, but I've actually been pleasantly surprised, especially tonight, with the way they just continue to work the ball around, find the open guy. We saw it a number of times tonight. Hauser got a couple of good looks.
I thought the bench did a much better job with it. Yeah, like when they came in the first quarter, they had 2 possessions in a row where they swung the ball around through Cornette and got Hauser at 3 and then Pritchard at 3. So that was like the peak of it early, and then it just kind of faded as the game went on. The third quarter was terrible offensively, and they blew that big lead there, of course, too, with the 19-5 run there. Joe, again, tried to carve it out without calling timeout down to that mandatory, but couldn't get there. So that's the stuff you worry about with a game like this. Again, I'll give them a pass just because of the personnel they had to play with here. But I mean, Banton starts this game, which, if you said you were going to win a game with Banton starting against the playoff team this year, you'd be pretty happy with that. Kada playing big minutes. So again, I give it a pass, but we're 5-6 games now into this team being a bottom 10 offense. So I'm keeping an eye on it, Jimmy. I'm not panicking, but it's just that offensive style that's led to this team being stagnant at different points. And they have a lot of different outs this year. Of course, Porzingis, offensive rebounding, bench shooting. Like there's a lot of different ways that they can escape the stagnancy of the past here. Like they've perfectly set up the roster to do it. And the fact that we're still looking at a team that can fall into the bottom 10 offensively worries me a little bit. And a lot of it's the 3-point shooting. Like when that's not there, it's a big, big part of what they do. And they sometimes struggle to find other ways. Of course, like finishing just stinks right now. I mean, they can't hit at the rim. And that's just, I think, a short-term thing that they're going through here. But and I hate to sound so down after a win, but, you know, again, John, this is why they've struggled a little bit over the last 5-6 games, offensive execution.
Yeah. Yeah, it's and the struggles at the rim also lead to so much transition.
Oh, the defense got killed off those.
And that gets you all the time. And I know I'm always, Bobby's keeping an eye on a lot of things. So one thing I always keep an eye on is those tough shots at the rim and the guys getting back or not getting back in transition. I feel like every missed shot in close results in a wide open three the other way almost every single time. Josue's having a good time.
Sorry, guys.
No, it's cool.
People coming into the break room.
No, you got people.
Josue, I heard you got a shout out earlier.
Yes, well, we all did, which was pretty cool, man. Our friend from Costa Rica. What was his name, Sherrod? I'm so bad with names.
John? Dan.
Wow. Dan. I asked him like 3 times, and Sherrod was like, "It's Dan, bro." Like interrupted.
Damn.
Still Dan.
Literally.
Dan
from Costa Rica. Appreciate you, man. He said what up to Sherrod and I, and that's exactly what I was just telling these guys about. No, I'm just kidding. But no, that's pretty cool because I thought he meant like he's from Costa Rica, but no, he literally tunes in from Costa Rica. So appreciate you, Dan.
Yeah, cool. Dan and Chemo get the shots out tonight. What else you guys got in terms of tonight? What's sustainable beyond, like, every time you dip into the bench and you see somebody do something, you wonder, like, oh, is this going to happen again? I don't know why Banton in the first place, but not only they went with him, they went back to him, and he played significant minutes. He started the third quarter, and then he got some fourth quarter run. Why? And do you see it happening more?
Banton made sense in this game, John.
I'm not saying he did bad.
It kind of sounds like you're saying it doesn't make sense, John.
What I'm saying is based on Joe's track record of how he handles this stuff. It was a curious move that I was surprised by. I welcome it because, as I said, I like the idea of open auditions with some of these guys because you really want to see who can play, 8, 9, 10, 11 in case you need those guys, because it really is difficult to bring them in, cold. So Banton he committed to Banton. I mean, he started him. He only played 19 minutes, but he let him play.
Banton made sense because the Hawks and all the wings that the Hawks play with. So when you're switching defensively, Banton really wasn't going to be in a major mismatch. Versus if you got Sam Hauser out there, there's some potential matchups where that would have been to his detriment. So Banton made the most sense against the Atlanta Hawks with 2 guys out, because obviously if you've got Porzingis and you've got Drew Holiday, Banton probably doesn't play at all. So, yeah, I get it. And again, I thought Joe did it, like I talked about earlier. I thought Joe did a good job of recognizing in this particular moment against this particular team, I'm down 2 starters. What can I do to get us to where whoever I plug in there isn't going to be put in really bad, precarious situations defensively? Because you don't care about what he can do offensively, because you got Tatum, you got Brown, you got D. White, you got enough guys who can get you buckets. Can you have someone who can defend their position and when they do switches won't be a major liability? And Banton made sense, and he's another ball handler for you.
That's what I was going to say.
But will he play again?
I think he will.
Will he use him again?
Yeah, I think he will. I mean, you look back to the game in Philly, he was one of the first guys off the bench, and I think it's for that reason. Someone that can keep his opponent in front of him. He can get back on defense, especially transition defense, which kills the Celtics when they're at their worst on that end of the floor. Yeah. So it makes a lot of sense, and especially someone that can grab rebounds. Someone for his size, he can grab boards in a hurry, as he did tonight. 5
in 19 minutes.
He finished with 5. So yeah.
In 19 minutes, that's pretty damn good. for a guard.
So yeah,
I like the
he does a few things for you
Yeah,
when
he's
his
6'8",
name is called.
You definitely can match up against like a kind of a bigger wingy team, so to speak.
Right.
What did you guys talk about? I did want to mention this. Jalen drawing the tray assignment.
No, I mean Trey
Like
did
in the beginning, Jalen was matched up on Trey for a bit of the game, and I thought he had that really great exchange where he got really got Young frustrated, and that earned
got
him
the
a
tech
T,
on him. Yeah.
this and that. But like, I don't know that it stayed that way all game long, but I did like seeing in the beginning there because like it was almost like Harden in the playoffs that time where Jalen decided to get serious and like let me play some defense here and I can show you what I can do. But I don't know if you guys had mentioned it at all, or what you saw out of Brown defensively tonight.
He was okay. I didn't think he sucked. But I didn't get the sense that he was. I mean, he also, in addition to Trey, he spent some time on DeJounte Murray too.
He was all over the place, but I know
Right.
he was a stretch of time there that he was on Trey, and I liked that portion of the game from Brown.
Yeah, no, I thought he was okay.
They defended well as a team tonight. I thought they cut off those passes to Capella well after he got one early underneath. Played physical, frustrated them, as you said there, John. And that's where Jalen's at his best, focusing on a matchup. He's not as good in the active switching defense, but they had to go to that in the second half against some of the three-point shooting. And it was interesting. Joe talked about how, they hit them hard with the threes, but the Celtics took away everything else because when you're trying to take away everything from Atlanta, he said that's where things start to pile up on you. So they did give up a lot of threes in the second half. Some of them were off deflections and stuff, weird plays, but they were disruptive tonight. They held down the defensive boards as well. Horford had 15 in this one. So that was a big step from Friday. I liked it overall. I don't think Brown anchored them or did anything like particularly special in this game on that end, but this is what you're looking for from them when your shot's not there. And he said it after the game, can you win with your defense? And that's effectively what this game became, along with the offensive rebounding and the timely shots to stop runs. So I thought Jalen was good overall in this one. Like this playmaking after that big run, Johnny came out of timeout and threw a pair of assists to Kada, and I believe the other one was to Hauser. So good game for Jalen. Didn't shoot great. Same with Tatum, but as we've said, do other things to make up for it. And I thought they both did that tonight.
Any other closing thoughts on Atlanta before we get to a must-win in-season tournament game on Tuesday? What do they got to win by, Bobby? 23?
Yes, but Brooklyn has to win too because the first tiebreaker's head-to-head. So if
Gotcha.
Brooklyn loses and the Celtics win, they're going to have to beat all the other teams in differential. So they have an uphill battle to make the tournament here. They're going to need a lot of help.
Okay. Guys, closing thoughts tonight, Jimmy? Why don't you recap everything we talked about in the last 10 minutes, and then we'll go.
Facts, my dog.
Stand up in front of the class. Go ahead.
Nope.
There, he muted his mic. He was so out of it.
Oh wow.
Were you watching stuff on your phone, man? You had to mute your mic.
Oh, no. I don't know what's going on.
He didn't want to get
guys
accused of heavy breathing, so he muted.
Yeah, no, not accused. I didn't want everyone to not be able to hear over the huffing and
That's when
puffing.
he's really not listening, when he's got that going.
That's when John has to scurry back to the computer. That's when you know. No, listen. I mean, off the top, it was good to see Kada, if that's what you guys want to call him. It was good to see him contribute today off the bench.
That's his name.
He doesn't even know what I asked him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you said closing thoughts. This is my closing thought. It was good to see him contribute off the bench.
Recap.
We've been looking to get a couple new faces in the mix. So
Did you even
with
read
injuries,
the book, Jimmy?
comes opportunities.
You went on.
I can tell you that I didn't read the book. Whatever the book is, I did not read it. More of an audio book guy.
Jimmy did not understand the assignment.
Yeah.
Good job, Jimmy.
We can't let this skip by. Super chat. Who do you think's the team?
Bobby's the guy behind him in class. Like, good job, Drew.
Who's the captain?
Don't listen to him.
I asked Bobby for the homework right before class started.
He's the one that's telling you to make you feel better. It wasn't that bad.
Michael wants to know who
it wasn't
the captain
that bad.
is.
You did all right.
They don't have one. They don't have one.
Wow. There it is.
Ime established that 2 years ago. They don't have one. So.
I think that's how it is, right? Like, no one has really grabbed that and ran with it. So it's just more collective, and you have to win like a team like this. Like, no one's really gonna. Do you see what Smart did in Memphis tonight? You don't have that.
It was coming. You
Smart
knew it
laid-
was coming.
Smart laid in his teammates.
You knew it was coming. The way that they played this year, you knew at some point Marcus was going to explode and just let it out.
Damn, what happened?
He can't handle this. So I gotta pull up the tweet again.
He flipped out.
Kada is the captain now.
He just
The attitude of this city sucks. Did he go like all Rick Pitino?
It ain't the city.
No, I know. I'm just making a Rick Pitino joke. But
He
what did he say?
He gave a speech in timeout and said, "This is effing embarrassing" several times. Talked about how fans are paying to come watch them and they're not even trying.
Yeah, they're pretty much giving away seats in the first couple of weeks of the season.
It's a full-on lost season and was to start. I mean, it's lost.
Yeah, but Marcus is not about this life. He's been in the playoffs every single year,
but like,
besides his first year.
Go trade for him.
How are you anybody on Memphis right now getting up for anything? You know it's over, and then like what happens? Then your star comes back. Who's the reason that your season's in the toilet to begin with? I mean, it's a mess here.
Yeah, he's a contributing factor.
Yeah, Bobby, are we talking about this? What's the one thing nobody wants to talk about?
What is it?
Luke.
Wow.
Oh. His fantasy matchup.
See that?
Man.
Was that tonight?
You didn't know this?
That's what happened.
Philadelphia had to hit a fifth. Look at all these guys I had playing in this game, and I needed overtime. Kincaid, Brown, Swift.
That's a brutal loss.
That score is
And
crazy.
Bobby's locked in. He's got Diggs, and I needed that Jalen Hurts scramble to win by that margin tonight.
40,
That is
huh?
sad.
Wow.
And you were watching that, Bobby. We were watching that play. The Eagles game.
Oh, that
Hey,
sucks.
couple of powerhouses here.
Yeah, these are two of the
6 and
powers
5
in the
teams.
league.
Yeah, pretty much.
You don't
I
want to
got
see
screwed
us.
this year.
Cool team name, Bobby.
Good game, John.
Thanks, Ben.
B-Man 260's nifty team.
How do you know those Bobbies?
Yeah. Oh, we know.
Yeah.
Cool team name. Boomer Rage.
B Manning, 260 nifty. No, I needed
Bobby, that would have been
Hurts-
your screen name.
I needed Hurts to scramble that one in, or
That was the only way.
throw it to Swift or Brown. But if he throws that to anybody else from that distance, I lose. I needed it.
Nick just goes, "Is that my picture?"
Has he never seen this before? That's funny.
This is breaking news
Yeah,
to
Nick.
him.
Sorry, Nick. Yeah, that is you.
That's Nick. It's Nick's picture, but it's my team.
Is that my picture?
Yeah, you were Boomer Rage,
So
dude.
that's what happened. If I will say this, if we're giving out, Amit's in the league too. He's got a decent team. Josue always finds a way to win with the least amount of points, which is a talent, I guess.
Yep.
I always got that four game winning streak at some
Sherrod
point.
Blakely is at risk of relegation.
Yeah, I think I
Back to the G. Back to the G. I'm
back
ready.
to the G. But you know what?
Back
Me and
to the
Sherrod
G.
are in a good battle this week.
Oh, no.
I'm beating them,
We're-
but
Back to the G, Jimmy. That's
Yeah.
that's for
Head
you.
down
and me.
to, head
Both
up
of
to
us-
Maine, Sherrod.
I got to draft better. That's what
you got Lamar Jackson going right now, Sherrod. You need a big one.
I'm in fantasy football like purgatory. I'm always right around the 7th or 6th or something like that.
No,
I'm
you're
a
Josue,
fringe
you're picking
playoff
right
team.
before me, and you damn near take the guy that I want
Oh,
every
hey.
damn year. I hate you.
Oh yeah, maybe that's what.
Wow.
Maybe that's what it is.
If Josue's in purgatory with a mediocre team, maybe you don't want the guys he's drafting.
He's not.
Hey,
though. That's
you
the
gotta
thing.
roll. You gotta roll the dice. You know, come on.
Yeah,
Amit's ahead of all of us right now. He's in third.
yeah. Okay.
Evan Marinofsky's in first. Anyways.
Defending champion Evan Marinofsky from the Bruins.
Yeah.
From
Hockey
our
guy.
Bruins beat.
Knows his football.
Yeah. Ahmed's
Oh, man.
Ahmed is chirping right now.
This is gonna take me out of top 5 this week. Oof.
chirping.
I need to beat Sherrod to keep my playoff hopes alive, and I could actually knock Bobby off if I win a couple more weeks here.
I hope I beat you, Jimmy, just so that you don't have a shot at the playoffs.
Thanks.
He's going to play spoiler.
That's all you have to hope for, Sherrod, because you are in dead last, my friend.
I need Lamar Jackson to man up.
Ooh, you guys coming down to the wire here, Sherrod and Jimmy. Well, kind of.
Oh, yeah, it's close.
It's close.
I
need Eckler to do something.
Tatum is complaining about the point differential thing in the tournament. The point differential thing, I'm not the biggest fan of it because, there are certain instances, I guess last Friday, where the game was already over and the guy's still trying to score. It's all about respecting the game. So he didn't like the Magic trying to score late when the game was in hand. I don't disagree. There's really not much place in point differential in these games because there is a code. When you don't take the shot, you let the shot clock run out, you take the turnover, you hand the ball back, and that's how the game is played when it's out of hand. And guys are running around trying to get these cheap buckets for the point differential. I think he's 100% right. It's pretty friggin' bush league.
Well, they don't do that. They don't do that in soccer. That's the thing. Like that's what this format comes.
It creates a different style for the game.
It is the soccer thing.
Yeah.
Whatever. But it is what it is. All right, we're gonna wrap it up, guys. Right? Are we done? Did you guys do any ad reads,
so.
Jimmy?
I feel like that's why the NBA.
I did FanDuel. I did not do SeatGeek. So if you want to do SeatGeek,
we've given SeatGeek a lot of love right now. So we'll spare you guys that.
I did FanDuel and I trashed the Pats at the same time. So it was a good read.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. If you think you did well.
Oh, I know I did well.
We're gonna see.
You're gonna get an email from FanDuel tomorrow.
This is what's happening. We're all getting our boxes this week because, unlike Bobby, we didn't order them the day before Thanksgiving.
I know that was a crazy move.
But HelloFresh has a really special offer right now, and Bobby can attest to it. They gave him like 40 free muffins. You get free breakfast for life when you go to HelloFresh.com/CLNS free. Use the code CLNS free. This is a pretty good time to customize your diet between Thanksgiving and New Year's and Thanksgiving and Christmas, not have to do a lot of grocery shopping. Let HelloFresh deliver it for you. Restaurant quality meals delivered to your doorstep, pre-portioned ingredients, customize your meals however you want. Simple menu card. 20 minutes later, you're eating a restaurant quality meal at half the price. HelloFresh.com/CLNS free. Use the code CLNS free and get free breakfast for life. That means every time you order HelloFresh, you get breakfast included with your order. And it's quite a bit of breakfast. It's not like one thing. So a pretty good deal there.
A lifetime.
Yeah, lifetime. For life. For life. This is a good time to do it because anytime you go back to the well, you'll always get breakfast. So
some people think that's the most important meal of the day. Yeah. Some people do.
So good day. Celtics win. Pats lose. The dream is alive.
Where'd you get those tickets, John? How come we didn't get the invite? Where can we get those seats?
Not mine. Let's not pretend I'm connected in any sort of meaningful way. Yeah.
Somebody likes you, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, we will see you guys next time. Thanks for hanging out with us. Tuesday, right? Tuesday, Chicago?
Tuesday. All right.
All right.
Tuesday.
Take care.
You got time, Jimmy? You going to be there?